set foot on the campus to come visit it, I was struck by how open and how welcoming the students and the professors were. Coming to Gordon was like coming home.
I think intentional community is what Jesus modeled with his disciples, and Gordon has really fostered a good place for intentional community to happen.
Gordon is a place where you can meet people from all over the world and hear their stories. I meet a lot of different people who are shaping who I am today.
Gordon seeks to graduate men and women of character and of leadership, and the world is the place where Gordon students belong.
Choosing to go to Gordon was, I think, one of the best decisions I've made in my life. I expect to be changed.
Hello there, and thanks for joining me today on Psychology for Today. We have a new program, we have a new series for you, and this is an opportunity for you to get a little handle on what's going on in the field of psychology and some of the research that's being done now and some of the findings that we come up with regarding life and family life and marriage and how we become effective and how we become more productive in our life. We're going to take a look at psychology research and apply it to the issues and the problems we face today. So hence we have Psychology for Today. Now, welcome, but let me just say this at we start. We're going to do this once a month, and we're going to take a look at some of the very important issues that face you and face me and see if we can do some things better in our life than what we've been at this point in time and benefit from the research of psychology. Now, we are facing a pandemic, as you know. And I'd like to, first of all, just take a moment and just bring to you another voice, another message to say, be careful. Be careful how you live. Be careful how you expose yourself to people around you and expose yourself to the risks of living these days. So I came up with an acronym that I'd like to just introduce for you today, and it's called DISH, D-I-S-H. And if you can remember this idea, this acronym, you will benefit yourself and guide yourself in dealing with this pandemic and perhaps be safer and maybe healthier, in the process. So get a hold of the idea of DISH, okay? D means distance. Distance yourself from other people. You don't have to avoid people. You don't have to avoid social relationships. You don't have to avoid social situations. You don't need to do that. But you do need to distance yourself from the people you're around so that there is somewhat of a barrier, there's somewhat of a safe distance between you and other people. Some people have said 6 feet. Some people say 3 feet. Some people say 8 feet. Whatever is comfortable for you, that's really the point. But make sure there's distance between you and the people around you, so you have that point of distance. That's the D of dish. Now, I means insight. Here's what I mean by insight. Know about the problem. Know about the virus. Know about COVID that's going around. Know about the issues related to that and the level of risk that you are living, the level of risk you're exposed to. Kind of be aware of that so that you are insightful as to how you live. Study it, understand it, listen to the experts, listen to people who talk about this particular pandemic and the information that they share with you. Just become informed. So being insightful is number 2. So that's DI. Now we got S, shield. Make sure there's a shield that separates you from other people. Some kind of a barrier. We use masks. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Other people use other forms of shielding their body, shielding their breath, shielding their airflow. But do something that would create a shield between you and somebody that might be transmitting some kind of a dangerous virus to you or you to them. So think of it in terms of what kind of a shield can you put up between you and other people. And just use your head and be reasonable, about it. But here's the deal. You want to shield yourself from other people. That's external. That's true. But you want to shield your body also. That's internal. So take vitamin D. Take zinc. Take multivitamins. Take fish oil. Those are the 4 big contributions to positive health. They strengthen your immune system so that you have a shield if you are exposed to some kind of a germ, whatever it might be. You need a positive, a strong immune system. And you will build that immune system through those kind of supplements. Obviously, if you exercise, you have good sleep, you eat well, you live a reasonable lifestyle, you're not into a heavy drug behavior, you're going to have a good shield. You're going to have a good opportunity to be healthy. So shield externally, but also shield internally. Very, very important. And then lastly, H, hygiene. Practice good hygiene. Wash your hands. Wash your hands often. Wash your hands more than you usually do. Make sure that the dishes and the cups and the silverware and things like that you use in the course of the day have been well washed and are clean. I mean, do good when it comes to personal hygiene. Make sure that you're healthy and you're protecting yourself. So there you are. If you're concerned about the COVID issue, here's 4 things you can do that are reasonable, that won't really alter your lifestyle very much, but give you that sense of protection. DISH, D-I-S-H. So practice that, okay? Okay, now I'd like to just move on to the topic of the day. What we're dealing with today is the healthy family. So I've titled the topic today, In Search of the Healthy Family. The healthy family doesn't just exist. We need to create a healthy family. We need to develop a healthy family. We need to learn how to be a healthy family. We need to learn how to celebrate a healthy family. Healthy families are possible. Healthy families are around us. You may be a healthy family. You may not be a healthy family. But today I want to just focus on what it is like to be a healthy family. What makes up a healthy family? And give you the challenge to say, okay, you can become healthier. You can become stronger as a family by looking at some of these features that I'll focus on today. So it's the idea of a healthy family. Let's find it. Let's find you in the midst of a healthy family. Let's find your family being a healthy family, whether it's the family you are in now currently, or it's a family that you were raised in as a child. Some of us were not raised in a healthy family, but we have to become a healthy family in our own adult world. Some of us are very fortunate. We were raised in a healthy family and we have a healthy family. But it's learned behavior. Healthy families learn to be a healthy family. And they contribute to becoming even healthier as a family by practicing certain kind of behaviors that we're going to identify today. Now, that's the idea of the healthy family. What I'm going to use today is a book as a backdrop for our topic. The book was entitled The Traits of a Healthy Family, and it was written by a lady by the name of Dolores Curon. Now, Dolores is a journalist. She's an author. She's a lecturer. She's an educator. She did something very interesting. She sent a letter out to 500 psychologists, social workers, marriage and family counselors, pastors, youth workers. She sent out this letter to 500 of them and asked them this question: what makes up a healthy family? Would you please give me your 5 top choices, your 5 top ideas as to what makes a healthy family? So she gets these responses back from these 500 people. I think she must have like 5,000 or more responses altogether. But she takes these responses and makes a tally of them, makes some kind of a list, and identifies the top 15 to 17 traits of what is known as a healthy family. And she writes this book entitled The Traits of a Healthy Family. So we have a book there that is based on psychological research and 500 therapists who deal with people who are having healthy families and people who don't have healthy families. They're in a good position to help us understand this topic of what a healthy family is all about. So let's take a look at some of the top traits of a healthy family and present the challenge to you that perhaps you are better today than you were 5 years ago. And maybe you can be better 5 years from now in terms of your own health as a family and the way that you relate to each other, and the way that you treat each other, and the way that you live life together as a family. So here's a couple of the top issues that she found. These are the top ones now of this whole long list of healthy family traits that she came up with. And we're just going to look at some of the top 15 of them. But here's the idea that she came up with. Number 1, okay? Healthy families communicate. And they listen. You see, here's the deal. When a family sits down together, healthy families talk to each other. Healthy families listen to each other. Healthy families interact with each other. Healthy families ask questions of each other. Healthy families answer questions of each other. Healthy families explore ideas, together. Healthy families just become part of the mantra of life, of just keeping talk going. They talk at the dinner table. They talk at breakfast. They talk before bed. They talk when they get up in the morning. They talk when the kids come home from school. There's a talk, there's a chatter that goes on in the context of family life. That's what healthy families do. They talk. But what she finds is that healthy families also have a listening skill. They listen to each other. So when somebody talks, somebody else has heard that and responds accordingly, responds appropriately. Doesn't just sit there in silence. It doesn't just look the other way. Healthy families, when somebody talks, somebody listens. Somebody talks, somebody listens. I always equate this to a tennis game. When somebody hits the ball, you hit it back. And then when the ball comes to you, you hit it back. And then you hit it back again. And this volley goes back and forth 3, 4, 5 times. And what that is, that's communication. When you hit a ball, you're asking a question. When you respond to that, you're answering the question. So then you ask another question, and then you respond to that. So that's what healthy families do. They play tennis with words. They play tennis with ideas. They play tennis with information and facts that they share with each other in the course of the day, in the course of the evening, and throughout the day. That's what healthy families do. So, okay, how you doing? Are you a healthy family? Just on that point. You just take that one point and say, are you a healthy family? Do you talk? Do you listen? Do you respond? Do you play tennis with each other in word games and idea games and back and forth? Do you do that? Healthy families do. Now, if you don't, you're not a healthy family, at least to that degree, and you need to learn that skill. You need to practice that skill. You need to talk to the family and say, look, when we talk, we're going to answer. We're going to start talking to each other. We're going to start sharing information. We're going to start being interactive now with each other. So you can have a plan to develop that particular skill. Okay, that's one thing that she found was about healthy families. They talk and they listen. But here's another interesting one. Healthy families quarrel. Healthy families quarrel. But you know what they do? They make up. They make up afterwards. They may quarrel, but they make up. And that's the whole idea. They reconcile whatever the differences were, whatever the conflict was. They come to some point of agreement. That's what healthy families do. Unhealthy families, obviously, into the contrary, quarrel with each other and then they go in their separate ways and they never talk anymore for maybe a day or 2 days, sometimes a week. Healthy families deal with issues, whether that's in talk or even in quarreling, but they make up, they reconcile, and they go on with life. But let me add another point to that whole thing, okay? Here's the deal about healthy families. If they quarrel and they make up, maybe mom and dad quarrel, maybe mom and dad go into another room and work out their differences, whatever the conflict was, whatever the argument was, then they come back and they tell the kids, we were quarreling, you saw us quarreling, but we came to terms, we came to an answer, we came to a conclusion, we came to a reconciliation. So the kids don't have to worry. We're not going to take it out on you. And here's what we decided. And you can tell then the kids what you actually decided. So that the quarreling becomes a time of family bond, of family learning, a family opportunity to practice and to learn a good skill, which is to have a difference, quarrel about it, reconcile, go make up, and then tell the world that you made up. Tell the kids you made up. Tell the family. So they don't live with this idea that this quarrel is somehow forgotten or put on the shelf and someday it's going to pop up again. And we're not going to have any fun or any peace until that happens. So quarrels cannot be just ignored and put away because they will come up again and again and again. And we can't have that kind of behavior. Healthy families quarrel, they settle it, they resolve it, and then they tell the family what they came up with and how they resolved it. So think of it that way. Don't worry about having a quarrel. Don't worry about having differences. Of course you have differences. We all do. But there's a difference between the healthy and the unhealthy family relative to how they resolve it and then bring other people into the resolution. Okay, now let's go on to a third point. Very, very critical issue. That is, healthy families affirm each other. Healthy families support each other. Healthy families say nice things to each other in an affirmation. They compliment, they praise, they approve, they commend, they support, they encourage. That's what healthy families do. Throughout the day, there are words of encouragement. Throughout the day, there are words of affirmation. There's words of praise and celebration, if you will. Kids come home from school and you look for opportunities to praise the kid for what he did today in school. May not have been 100% perfect, but he did something that you can praise and you can affirm the kid for. Same with husband, wife, and grandparents and relatives or who's ever involved in your home and your family life. Make sure that there is this affirmation that takes place and it is regular, it's frequent, it's routine. It's part of the family mantra. It's part of the family life. It's part of the family ethos, if you will. This is what we do as a family. We affirm each other. We support each other. We encourage each other. We commend each other. We praise each other. Get a lot of that going. Don't let your day go by without affirming the kids, without affirming your wife, your husband, your in-laws, or whomever it might be that's living with you in your home. So homes are for the purpose of affirmation. Families are for the purpose of affirmation. And then those families become strong and support and then allow the family life to unfold as life takes place in the life of each kid and each family member. Okay, now those are the three top issues of what makes a healthy family. Those are our three top ones. Those are the frequent answers that these 500 therapists and counselors came up with as to why some families are healthy and some families are not healthy. So if you just take those three, and if you were pretty good in those three, you're on the way to a very healthy family. But if you lack any of those three, or if you're kind of short on any of those three, or you're kind of weak in any of those three, you got some work to do. Because those are very important 3 points to every family if it's going to be healthy. It is important to every family that is healthy. It's part of their life. And it should be part of your life. So I recommend those to you based on Dolores Curran's book, The Traits of a Healthy Family. But she came up with some other ones as well. Those are just the top three. So what I'm going to do is kind of just take a little moment here and change my position and talk about a couple of the other issues that are very important in healthy family living. And so you start with those three, but let's add a few more to it there, okay? Be right with you. Okay, let's take a look at this issue of a healthy family as we unfold this story and unfold this theme just a little bit more than what we've done up till now. Communicate and listen, yes. Quarrel and settle it, yes. Express affirmation and support for each other, yes. But here's another one. Self-esteem. Promote self-esteem. Dad, promote self-esteem in your spouse. Mother, support self-esteem and promote it in your spouse. Support it and promote it in your children. And teach the children how to support and commend each other and develop self-esteem in each other. The family members all participate in the idea of promoting self-esteem. Now, self-esteem is the idea of what you think of yourself. And some kids, some parents don't think of themselves very highly. That's kind of low self-esteem. But we have some that really have grown up in a way that they do believe in themselves. They do have faith in themselves. They do have confidence in themselves. That's what we call positive self-esteem. So as a family, what's important, and if you're going to be a healthy family, what's important is that you learn and you practice and you develop this theme of self-esteem in each other. Being able to make sure that you are contributing to the self-esteem of each other. You're building the self-esteem in each other. You're helping each other acquire that sense of self-esteem, that goodness of oneself. Now, here's just a couple ways that you want to do that. First of all, you don't want to focus on the perfection of a child because kids aren't perfect. Kids make mistakes. So if you waited until they made no mistake and commend them, you're going to wait a long time. What you commend is the effort that a child put forth in the course of the day, the effort at school, the effort at home, the effort in doing his chores, the effort in doing his homework. You commend that. Even if it not be perfect or well done, at least commend the effort so that a child gets the idea of he's doing something, he's recognized for something, he's being supported in for something, he's being praised for something, and it gives him a good feeling that he's a good person, that he's a valued person in the context of the family. So that's just kind of one small thing you do. Focus on the effort, not on the actual outcome. And particularly, don't wait until the outcome is perfect, because it may not be. Yeah. But kids put forth the effort and commend that. Encourage kids to try new things. That's how you get to self-esteem. When a child does something new and then succeeds in that, the child develops his own self-esteem, that he's good, that he's capable, he's competent, he's skillful. That's what kids want to learn. So you provide them opportunity to learn new skills, new learning opportunities, and if a child does it and actually succeeds, that child will acquire self-esteem, positive self-esteem. So you see, you can do it in a couple of different ways. It's not just telling the child he's good or you happy with him and all the rest. There's opportunities of learning that take place in the course of the day. Here's another one. Teach your kids to talk to themselves positively. It's self-talk, we call that. Now, all kids do self-talk. Every kid mumbles to himself, says things to himself. Unfortunately, some kids talk negatively about themselves, and they kind of mumble in negative terms. Stop that. Get them to shift over into talking about themselves in some positive terms, what they're capable of, what they're competent in, what they've succeeded, what they did today that they are happy about, things that are going on in their life that are happy. That's the kind of thing that you want to make sure that your kid talks about and refers to himself and thinks in his own mind, let alone talks to you about it. So you see, encourage self-esteem by promoting self-talk, by promoting a good feeling of oneself, a positive view of oneself. You can do that as a parent. Now, here's another idea from Dolores Guerin. Make sure that you respect the uniqueness of your child. You make sure you respect the uniqueness of your husband, of your wife, of your spouse, of your parents, your friends, or whomever is part of this family dynamic. You see, make sure that you promote the idea that every person is unique. Every person is exceptional in some way. Every person has skill in some way. Every person stands out in some way. You want to celebrate that. You want to talk about that. You want to point that out. You want to help the kids see how they are unique and that you recognize it and that you appreciate it. Here's an idea for you. We have birthdays, right? We have anniversaries, right? We have special occasions during the year to celebrate the lives of certain people. But you know, have you ever had a unique day in your family? Here's what a unique day is in your family. It's like a birthday. You celebrate the uniqueness of your child, not the age of your child, not the birth of your child, or the age of your marriage or the beginning of your marriage. You celebrate the uniqueness of your marriage. You celebrate the uniqueness of each child. One child may be unique in the area of having sports ability, athletic ability. One kid may be unique in having musical, ability. One person may be unique in having social skills of being able to talk or being able to express himself. One child might be unique in the area of being able to write short stories or write poetry or things like that. Well, it doesn't matter what it is. Every child has a uniqueness. Find it as a parent. Understand it as a parent. Discover it as a parent. And then celebrate it at least once a year. So besides having this birthday, have a unique day. And let the child bask in the celebration and the joy that comes with having an ability, having a skill, or having something unique about himself that makes him stand out from everybody else around him, in the family as well as in the neighborhood as well as at school. How is your child unique? Discover it. Celebrate it. Okay? Now, healthy families do one other thing. They also promote trust. They promote trust. You can't have family life if you don't have trust. You can't have a positive marriage if you don't have trust. You don't have relationships with friends if you don't have trust. You don't have a business if you don't have trust. Trust is basic to life. Trust is basic to business. Trust is basic to marriage. Trust is basic to family life. Develop trust. Here's how you do it. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're not going to do something, then don't do it. If you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time in a certain place, be there. If you say you're going to follow up on something tomorrow or next week, do it. Make sure your words and your behavior match so that you follow up on whatever it is that you commit. And if you commit to being a person of honor, then be a person of honor. If you a person of follow through, then follow through. You're a person of appointment, then be there on time. Be at that appointment on time. Live your life according to your commitments. Live your life according to your promises and follow those. And trust will develop. It'll develop in your children. It'll develop in you yourself. Kids will trust you. You will trust your kids. And your life will be healthy, very healthy, as a family. Very important in a healthy family, that trust, that sense of trust. Dolores Curon says another thing that's important. Share responsibilities in the home. Share responsibilities in the home. Here's the idea. Every kid has a chore. Every kid has a task to perform. Every kid has a responsibility to assume. Every parent has a chore, a responsibility. Anybody that lives in the house, whether it's a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or whomever it is, everybody in that home has a responsibility to carry out on a regular, faithful basis. That's what healthy families do. They share the responsibility. Dinner is not up to just one person. Dishes are not up to just one person. We share responsibilities. Some take out the garbage. Some do the dishes. Some help with meal preparation. Some help with washing floors and washing clothes and cleaning up, making beds, and all the things that take place in the course of life in a home. Divide the chores up, and everybody has a responsibility. Now, you can shift those around every week. You have a little different one, or every month you shift them or whatever, just to make it a little bit more interesting. but make sure that every child has a chore and that that child follows through on that chore. That's what's good. If the child follows through, praise. If the child follows through, is commend. If the child follows through, support that child and be very happy with that child, what they did. Accept the child's efforts at fulfilling that particular chore. Now, I've often been asked this question: how old does a kid I need to be to begin taking on responsibility for the home? My answer is age 3. Age 3. A 3-year-old should start having chores, should start having responsibilities in the home. You don't wait until a child's 13. You don't wait until the child's 23. You get that child when he's very young and tender, and you teach the child how to be responsible and how to do his part of responsibility for the home. Obviously, it's a very simple task. It's a very brief little task, and then it will develop and grow as the child gets older. But start with a child at age 3, making sure that child has a chore to contribute to family life. That's what healthy families do. They all have their chores and they all participate, no matter how old they are, whatever age they are, but the chore is commensurate with their age and their ability. Okay, here's another thing that Dolores Curran came up with. Teach right from wrong. Teach right from wrong. You know, kids need to know what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. Kids need to know what the word no means. And they need to know that that word no means no, now, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and so on. Because it's not right. Because it's a wrong kind of behavior. That's why we say the word no. It's not the right thing to do. Or it's not the right time to do it. Make sure that the child, make sure that you as a parent, follow that idea that there are things which are most acceptable to do. We call those the right things to do. And the things which are unacceptable, the wrong things to do. And whether that's into lying behavior or stealing behavior or any other kind of sneaky behavior, right from wrong. Make sure that in your home you have a way to help a child distinguish what is right and what is wrong, and that you're consistent about it. What is wrong today is wrong the next day, and is wrong the next day, and is wrong the next day. What is right today is right on into the future, unless there are circumstances that change things, and you have to talk about that, and you have to discuss that. So teach right from wrong, okay? Here's another one. Create a family and a cultural tradition of your family. Now, if you happen to be Swedish like I am, there are certain traditions that we have within the Swedish custom and traditions, and we practice those as a family. If you're Irish, there are certain Irish traditions that you follow and that you practice. If you're Spanish in some form, then there are certain traditions there that you begin to incorporate into your life. Develop the cultural awareness of your family, of your children. Help them be proud of their background. Help them be proud of their traditions. Help them be proud of their customs. Be proud of their ethnic background, their racial background. Help them be proud of that. And one way you help that pride come forward is to celebrate the traditions, the cultural traditions of your family. And I always say to a married couple when they start developing their own family, and young married couples now have a family, start developing your own traditions as a family. Now, the family you grew up in may have its own traditions. You may want to follow those. You may want to replicate those. Well, you don't have to, but you may want to. But develop your own family or your own traditions as a family. Make sure this little family that you're now developing has a tradition that you all look forward to carrying out. Some kind of a cultural awareness. So you're proud of who you are. You're proud of where you've come from. You're proud of your heritage. You're proud of your lineage. Be aware of culture that you all share as a family, and then blend it into your life as a family. Okay, now I'm going to move on to another point. Healthy families play together. Healthy families have fun together. Healthy families enjoy each other. Healthy families laugh. Healthy families have fun together. They are a family of enjoyment. So in your day, in the course of your week, have you laughed? Have you laughed together? Have you laughed with each other? Have you laughed for each other? Have you laughed about each other? Have you played together? Have you played with one or the other? Or have you enjoyed play together? Have you had fun playing together? If you haven't, you got some things to do. You have to find ways to have fun together. You have to find ways to play together. You have to find ways in which you can begin to enjoy each other beyond just the course of carrying out life today and carrying out responsibilities today and doing what you have to do. Make sure there's fun times. Do puzzles together. Play some table games together. Play some board games together. Go out and go to the mountains together. Go to the beach together. Take a drive together. Do things that, as a family, you're not only having fun and enjoyment and playing together, but you're building memories. You're building memories. Give your kids good memories, and they build memories around play and fun and enjoyment. Very, very important. How about mutual interaction? How about mutual interaction? A pattern of mutual interaction. Well, all that means is just talk to each other. Just share with each other. Show each other what you're able to do. Show what you've just learned. Tell what you've just learned. Learn something and then share it with the family. Be interactive as a family. But do the sharing with each other so that you benefit from each other. You gain from each other. You enrich each other. That's what interaction's all about. We want people in a family, in a home, to not sit there in quietness and watch television or watch a movie or play on an iPad or whatever it might be, a cell phone. We don't want that. We want families that interact with each other, not interact with a cell phone, interact with a video. We want interaction with people. We want interaction with family members. That's what healthy families do. So make sure as a healthy family you do that kind of interaction with each other, okay? Very important. Here's another point she came up with in this survey of some 500 different therapists as to what makes up a healthy family. Share a religious faith. They share a religious faith together. They practice a religious faith together. That's what healthy families do. Some are Catholic, some are Protestant, some are Jewish, some are Muslims. I mean, they have different faiths, but they share a faith together. Some are Sikh, whatever it might be. But the healthy family have a bond, have a beginning point that's called faith. And they build on that, and they talk about that, and they share that, and they witness that together, and they celebrate that together through various forms of worship and various forms of Bible reading and scripture reading and various forms of prayer and whatever it might be. Make sure that your family acknowledges a faith and practices it. And the better you practice it, the more you practice, the deeper you practice, the more consistent you are, the better. We learn from our faith. We learn messages of love. We learn messages of trust. We learn messages of hope from the faith that we have. And you got to teach those messages. And without faith, those are hard messages to teach. It's hard to teach hope without faith. It's hard to teach trust without a faith. So make sure your faith is part of your family life and part of the way in which you operate as a family. Now, here's another point. Respect each other's property. You know, you don't go into each other's room and just take what you want. Take something that's interesting to you. You ask. You stay out of each other's rooms because that's kind of private property, so to speak. And there are things there that are cherished and are important. You don't go and just take. You ask. You ask permission. Sure, it's right to share things. Sure, it's right to give things and back and forth. But it's done openly. It's not done secretively and sneaky in terms of trying to take advantage of somebody. But respect the property of everybody in the family. And if you're not quite sure, then you ask. Okay? Now, here's another thing that healthy families do. It's very, very important. They do service together. Did you know that? Healthy families provide a service to other people, and they do it together. Whether they serve the homeless population, whether they go downtown to the local mission, or they go downtown to the local service agency of some kind that provides assistance to people who are homeless or in different straits, shelters of various kinds. That's what healthy families do. They go and they give. They give their time. They give some money. They give some of their goods. They give some of their food. Healthy families share. Healthy families look for opportunities to share. And they do that together, and they talk about it, and they celebrate it, and they enjoy it, and they have fun. They tell stories about that. So you're going to take a walk around the block, take an orange with you. If you see somebody who's homeless, give them an orange. You don't have to give them a whole meal, but something that would be healthy and something that would be a measure of your love or your concern or your interest, and share with other people your goodness and the bounty that you have as a family. Share it with others. Make sure as a family you give money to charity. The kids maybe kick in $1, and maybe mom and dad kicks in $10, and you pull that together and you put an envelope and you send it off to some charity. Whether you send it off to Billy Graham or you send it off to the food bank or whomever you might choose to celebrate or to designate, send them some money because they can use it. Look at the nonprofit organizations in your community. Look at the ones that you support over the years, that your parents supported, that you supported as a kid growing up. Go ahead and keep on supporting them. Make sure that you contribute money and you contribute goods and you contribute your time and your love and your concern to charity in some form. That's what healthy families do. They are charitable, and you can be. If you're not, you're selfish, okay? Get out of that mode and look at it in terms of the context of being a charitable kind of a person in the community in which you live particularly. Okay, here's another one. Table talk. Table talk. Healthy families talk around the table when they eat. Now, first of all, they eat together. That's what's important to know. They eat together. And then they talk while they eat. That's what table talk is. Sharing your day, sharing your opportunities that you experienced during the day. What you learned in school today, what happened in school today, what were some of the events that happened in your life today. That's what people do around the dinner table, around the breakfast table, the lunch table. Whether there's 2 of you eating or there's 6 of you eating, doesn't matter. It's table talk time. Use your table as a stimulus for talk, and make sure that you talk well and you talk thoroughly, okay? Now, I'm going to give you just 2 more. Number 1, share leisure time together. Make sure that the time that you have extra, the free time that you have, you spend with the family. You don't spend with friends and people outside the family unless you have even extra time. Your family gets first choice of your extra time, your leisure time, the time that's not committed to work or to something else. We all have time that we relax. We all have time that we have leisure. We all have time that we can just kick back and not do anything. Spend it with your family. Involve your family. Enjoy your family at those times. Do family stuff, whatever it might be. Family time is good time if we use leisure time to create that family time. Leisure time, create family time. Okay? Make sure you use it that way. And then here, I'm going to give you the last point. Here's what healthy families are known for. It might be funny for you, but they have problems. They admit they have problems. But you know what they do? They seek help. They go to their minister and they talk. They talk to some of their friends. They make appointments with a psychologist. They make an appointment with a social worker, a marriage and family counselor. In other words, the problem is addressed. The problem is attacked. The problem is resolved in some kind of way by getting help to resolve that problem. You don't let problems just go on and on and on. You want to make sure that every problem that you come up with in a family, that you identify as a family, perhaps from this list I've just given you, some of the areas here that are problematic for you, get the help you need to get over that hump, to resolve that particular problem. Get over that so that you can live victoriously. You can live in a healthy way. You can live in a positive way, as a family. So here's the idea. Select from this long list I've given you 2 or 3 points that maybe you can improve as a family. Write them out, talk about them as a family, and then commit to change. Commit to improve yourself. Commit to doing things better as a family. How each of you can do something better to improve that area of family life. You aren't going to change all these things at once. You're not going to change 10 things at once, but you can change 1 or 2 or maybe 3 at any given time. That's what you can do. So look at the list, pick out the ones that you think you can improve on, and don't take the ones that's the worst. Now, some of those you're pretty bad on, that perhaps might be. But take the ones that you could just improve, and if you can improve a little bit, it'd make a big difference. And what you do then is you go to the next set of 2 or 3 and improve in that area. And then you take the next set of 2 or 3 and declare those areas of being focused and being an area that you're going to work on improving, and then improving those. And over time, you really strengthen your family. You develop this healthy family context, but it takes time to do that. But you can do it. But it's going to be just a little bit at a time. So take the list, look at it, pick out a couple areas, and then start the process of improving. Talk about it as a family, get a plan together, everybody commits, everybody follows through. That's your challenge, that's your guideline. That's the objectives. We have to learn how to live together. We have to learn how to live better together. We have to learn how to live more faithfully with each other. We have to learn how to live more trusting of each other. We can learn that. We learn all of our behavior. All of it's learned. Some of you learned in childhood and you brought it with you. Now you need to relearn. You need to reshape your life a little bit. Some of you didn't learn any of that kind of behavior very well. And now it's time to learn it. You're an adult. You're no longer a child. There's no excuse now. You can't say my parents didn't teach me that. That's over. That's done. You're an adult now. Now take on the responsibility and step up the plate and start doing some of these behavior patterns that creates a healthy family for you and for your family and for your children. Give and receive and experience the benefits that can be yours by living this way. Okay? Now, I just want to give you one last thing before we end. A little question and answer came in. And I was asked a question, and I just want to give you the answer to one question that came in, and we'll focus on that. Here was the question. If faith is important, what faith should we choose? There isn't an answer to that. You don't choose one faith. You choose faith. That might be in terms of your childhood faith. You may be Catholic and get back into the Catholic Church. You might have been raised a Baptist. Get back into the Baptist church. You know, whatever it is. Doesn't matter so much, but make sure that as a family, you acknowledge a faith and you practice a faith. If one of you, wife, is Catholic and the other is Protestant, husband, you may want to go to a Lutheran church. You may want to go to an Episcopal church. You may want to split. You may go to the Catholic church one night and the Protestant church one. People do all kinds of things. Have a Christian faith. Have a religious faith of some kind. And make sure that's part of your family life, okay? Well, anyway, there we are. Thanks for joining me today. And this is a great topic. In search of a healthy family. You can be that healthy family. I want you to be that healthy family. I want to help you become that healthy family. I want you to enjoy the benefits of a healthy family. I want the kids to grow up. I want your kids to grow up as a healthy family. So they will in turn create a healthy family as they become adults and they marry and they have children. You know, it's contagious. Healthiness is contagious. We learn it. We pass it on. It's not just like the COVID that we are all worried about today. That's contagious as well. But so is healthy living contagious. That's the contagion you want. That's the opportunity you want to pass on, you know, from one generation to the next. So maybe there is a place for being contagious, and maybe it's a positive one, and maybe that's something that you can do for yourself and for your kids and for your spouse and your family, your extended family, and so on. Thanks for joining me on Psychology for Today. Bye for now.
Sometimes good intentions hurt rather than help. For just $1.76 per meal, the Fresno Rescue Mission offers more than food. We offer hope. Please donate today.
Tanya, come here.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Kitchen in my hometown.
It's not about learning the right steps
4,
or making contact.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's not about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about taking steps to greatness. About making a connection. It's about proving every kid and teen has what it takes. It's about people in our clubs who bring out the greatness in every kid who enters our doors. It's not just about being on stage. It's about walking across it. Great futures start here, and here, and here.
CentralValleyTalk.com